Hey, hey,
How are you today?
I'm all right. It's well,
It's leap year.
yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. We get an extra day this year.
Well, that
For
brings it up.
all of us that think, oh, if I just had one more day, or it's here. You get
Yeah,
one more day this year.
I'm always curious if people spend the one day differently than they spend every other day, or if it's just one more day. Like
No,
for
for me,
me,
it's just one more day.
one more day of work.
Yeah,
Actually, and it worked to my favor to have one more day this year. So
one more day. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Well, we're going to talk about something that's really a lot of fun, I think, is optimizing for voice search. It's really not new. Voice search has been around for quite a while. We talked about this probably 2 or 3 years ago. And
yeah,
trust me, outside of some of the AI things that we're going to introduce on this, it's kind of just the same.
yeah, I know. The real difference is that with 2 years of between the last time we spoke about it and now, with the benefit of a little bit of hindsight, we were really preaching this is the future. I mean, that we think this is going to be the dominant way that people are searching, and um, you know, at least in the past 2 years, it has not become the dominant way that people are searching, but it has become more and more, a slow, steady growth. But it's not, some technologies you hit a tipping point, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, and then it just takes off. And uh, voice search has not been one of those tipping points. It's just been, I mean, I think the earliest tipping point with it was when Siri and
Yeah.
Alexa were introduced.
I think people played with it, but
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's getting there because mostly because people are starting to use mobile phones more and more, and it's always been big searching for restaurants and those kind of things. I mean, that seems to be Siri, where's the nearest pizza, and if everything in my in my purview right now goes off, it means
Yeah.
that Siri heard me.
Right.
um, or Google Home or whatever. I mean, I'm always amazed when I'm at one of my kids' house. Every morning they ask their Google Home, or Alexa or whatever it is for the weather. What's the
Mhm.
weather like today? I mean, they're in Colorado, so it's like, what's the weather? So, and if it's not one of the adults, one of the kids is asking to find out, if they need a coat or jacket or whatever's going to happen. So, I mean, it's just really kind of interesting. Um, so those are really really interesting. I love this. Thanks, Lou. Man, you're spending your day just being so productive. That's
That's great.
awesome.
Thanks for being here, Lou.
Yeah, thank you so much. I also want to thank Will, Karen, and Jessica for the thumbs up. We really appreciate that. Um, but what's interesting to me is as I am going through how people are starting to search for AI, search on AI, it's very similar to voice search. So I think these two things are gonna kind of cross paths a little bit. The difference is one, you're actually vocalizing, and the other one you're typing.
Yeah.
So, and those two things are different, by the way.
Well, totally different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my dad was a dentist, and he used to dictate his charts to an assistant. He would just use a dictaphone or whatever the latest greatest technology was. And he
Exactly.
would he would dictate his notes in the chart, and then the assistant would write them up, at some later time. And so I was reflecting on how far things have changed and everything. But um, I remember he told me years and years ago that the the quality of his notes for him was better if he dictated it and spoke it out loud, like, and then somebody else transcribed it and wrote it down. He got a
Mhm.
lot more information into it, and it sounded better. It was easier to read, once it was transcribed and all of that, than if he just wrote it, and typed it out, or wrote it in the chart himself. I thought that was interesting, and I've reflected on that lots of times since. That the style of you can almost hear somebody it's like a conversational tone or a speaking tone. It's very different than a written word kind of a tone. And it
Yeah.
really makes a difference. You can see it on people's sites, the conversational nature of it. But we're gonna get into all that and talk about that
Yeah,
here in a
so
minute.
it's really it's really fun. So the first thing is, what is voice search? We kind of already talked on that. It really is all the different ways. You can talk into your phone, you can talk into Google Home, Alexa. They've got all different kind of ways now to voice search. Siri, I mean, it's just everywhere. So
And the whole new crop of AI
yeah,
searches that the newer caliber stuff that like ChatGPT and other things that
mhm,
you can dictate into or talk with and
yeah.
get search results. Yeah.
So it's all, I mean, it's all there. And what's funny is a lot of people don't know that even on your website, you can talk to Google. I mean, there's a little microphone right there. All you have to do is hit that microphone. You can talk to Google, and so it's just all right there. So it is kind of under it. It's kind of, we understand it, but we don't know it's really everywhere. So if that's your choice, you want to talk instead of type, you certainly can. I mean, it's all there. So let's talk about understanding voice search dynamics. So, all right, here's going to be my input. The dynamics of voice search is almost exactly like the dynamics of AI. Most people go and ask questions. So it could be, hey, I've just started my fireplace and I got smoke in my house. What's going on? You wouldn't sit down at a search engine and type that out. Most people just don't do that. But when you talk, whether it's to AI or to a voice search, that's the way you do it. It's kind of like a person.
Yeah. More natural language, more
Mhm.
conversation. Um, and a lot of times it's disjointed, or I mean it doesn't you wouldn't structure your sentences the way you would if you're writing them out. And so um and oftentimes you're like you said, there's smoke and I don't know why. I need to know the top reasons why there's smoke, or
Yeah.
whatever. You're not likely to say, give me the top 5 reasons why my fireplace might be a chimney place. Yeah. I'm tired. Can you tell? My fireplace might be smoking. And people don't talk like that, but they search like that when they're typing out, the search query. So it really is a different way of a different starting point, I guess,
Yeah.
for how the search gets conducted.
Well, and sometimes it's like they don't know who to call, So it's like, who do I call if I've got smoke in my house? Who do I call? You know, most people know, well, if I have a leak, I can call a plumber. Most people know that, but there are services that people don't know who to call. If my basement is flooding, who do I call? Do you call a remediation company? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Who do you call if these things are happening? So that's another way that people have, especially during emergencies, because they just don't know who would help.
Yeah.
So it's another thing to consider. So, the other thing, and this is one of the things that I'm really interested, because the role in AI and voice search SEO. So, all right, here's the thing. Voice search SEO and AI SEO are very, very similar. It really is about answering questions. There's a book written probably, I don't know, 12 years ago called They Ask You Answer. That really is the basis of both AI search and voice search right now. I'm just going to tell you. So if you want to pick that book up and read it, it's a great book. Can't remember who the author is right now, but um, yeah, it's a really good book. And Carter's going to look the author up while I talk, so that'll be good. But it really is the basis of the role that AI plays, because AI is all about answering questions. So if people are asking questions and you answer those questions on your website, in your social media, all those things, and you start conversations with that, that really is the basis of SEO in both voice search and AI. So, but there are some tools that AI can help. SEO, I made some notes here. Surfer SEO is one of those tools that if you want to go in there and kind of play and find out, that they've got an AI tool that can help with SEO back there. Market Muse is a really good place to look at SEO. It's not only for AI and voice search, but they have some things also with content there. Phrase, Frase, is another just tool that you can use, platform that you can use. I mean, these are all things that are out there and they've been there for a while. Surfer SEO has been around for a long time, and I've used Market Muse and Surfer SEO before. Both good platforms. So if you're just looking for things to play around with and see how AI actually plays a part in voice search SEO, those are great tools to use. So the other thing that I want to know is, a lot of people go, I don't know what people are asking. Well, first and foremost, if you've been in business for a while, you better know what people are asking. So there's two things that I'm going to tell you. Number one, your CSRs, whoever answers the phone, whether it be a CSR or somebody else, they know the top questions that people call in and ask. Make sure that you have a list of those questions and that those questions are being answered on your website. I mean, that's really the best thing to do. If you don't want to do that, there's a site that you can go. It's called Answer the Public, that you can go put keywords in, and it's going to give you top questions all across. The difference is it's not specific to you. It's going to be all across the U.S. Now sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. Things are, a hose pipe is a faucet. So a hose pipe in one region is a faucet in another region. So you just got to know those colloquialisms. Boy, that was a word.
Regional terms for things.
Yeah, and know the difference between those and be able to pull those out in your area. So that's really the difference to that. But Answer the Public is a really, really good place to be. We got some questions. Are you on that?
No, actually, though, I just posted the link to the Ask You Answer in Amazon, so that if anybody's interested in learning about the book, Marcus Sheridan is the author.
That's right.
But that's the link where the book is in Amazon. And it's not an affiliate link. I don't get anything if you click it and buy it.
So if we're going to talk about optimizing local SEO and voice searches, it really is about, especially local, and that's what we're going to concentrate on. It's really about optimizing your Google Business Profile. That's really the best place that you can optimize, because locally, that's where most things are going to be pulled up. Using local keywords, Moz has a tool that's Moz Local that you can go there as well. Most everybody understands local keywords and what that is, but that's really optimizing for local SEO and voice searches is just making sure that the things that come up on local are what you're optimizing for. So an example of that is if I'm searching for, pizza near me, that would be one way. But if I'm in Cottontown and I'm going to be heading to Nashville, I would want to say, I need somewhere that makes the best pizza in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I may get 4 or 5 things on the map that said these are the best pizza in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's kind of how that works. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because sometimes I don't make sense. So you know how that goes. And that's okay. So talk about enhancing our website compatibility for voice search.
So the way that the website is built, the way that the content is written, all of those things matter if you're looking to tweak your site for better voice search compatibility or voice search results. Mobile friendliness. I mean, we've talked a lot about the mobile first move shift that Google made to prioritize the way that a site loads and appears, and how easy it is to use on a mobile device versus desktop, that it prioritizes first the mobile experience. So making sure that, and part of the reason is, the vast number of people who are using voice search are using a mobile device to do that voice search. So that means that whatever results get shown to them on a website, it's going to be a mobile optimized experience, or a mobile experience that they have. So just making sure that your site is ready for that, and that you're presenting the content in a way that captures more potential interest from people who visit the link that's shown to them when they're doing a voice search. So Google has a mobile friendly test. Check that out. You can it's called what is it called? Page Speed Insights kind of has it. I mean, but it's a little more technical on the Page Speed Insights. It seems like I've seen a tool that mobile that I'll do a search. If we find it later, we'll link to it. But Page Speed Insights is the next thing. You want to make sure that your site loads quickly on mobile, that it's hitting all of the factors that Google uses to judge your site and qualify it as one that fits all of the criteria for a site that needs to be shown near the top of search results. So the technical aspects of it, right? So this isn't so much about content as it is about how quickly does it load, how does the site look, does it jump around a lot as it's loading? I mean, I'm sure you've all had that experience where a site starts to load and it looks one way, and then suddenly it just like rejiggers and jumps around from top to bottom and puts a button that used to be here, and then now it's down here below the fold, and you got to scroll to find it. And that's just irritating, and Google knows that that's irritating to people, and so it's looking at those things and watching what your site does as it loads, and that all becomes part of the page speed, or the insights that you can get. So just Google it, Page Speed Insights. You can enter in your web address, and it'll tell you a little bit about your homepage if you want to know. Making sure that your site is secure, that's important too. Google pays attention to that now. So if your site is not being delivered over what's called HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol secure, then yeah, you're gonna get dinged. In fact, now if you're using most modern browsers, if a site doesn't load on HTTPS, you get a warning message saying this site is not secure. So, and a warning not to enter in any of your personal information onto the page, because it would be sent in the clear, and people who are watching that page might be able to grab your information. So, it's very important to do that.
All right. Well, that's awesome. And then I'm going to follow up with content strategy. So here's the thing about content, guys. Every one of y'all have gone down and see the at the bottom, it says also search for here. Those are content strategies, because people are actually searching for those other things. So make sure that when you do a voice search, that those also come up and you're looking at that. That's one way to do it. There are rich snippets. I love that. Snippets that you have on the page that you can look, and that again gives you an indication of how people are searching. And even though that you're going to see these and they're written down, all the voice search goes into that. So people who are asking via voice search are a part of the snippets, part of the enhancements that Google kind of shows you right there. Then there's another piece that is direct answers. So you'll see that as well. When you go down and it'll ask a question and you blow that up, you go and there's different answers underneath that. So you can kind of see what the answers are, what your competitors are asking, what they're actually answering on there. That also can help with your content. Long tail keywords and conversational tone. That's really big. So, It's the difference. One of the things that we talk about a lot is when you know so much about an industry. So I'm going to take the marketing industry. I do SEO all the time. SEO, SEO, SEO. Well, people don't know what SEO means. So I have to remember search engine optimization. But guess what? And everybody knows what search engine optimization is. So sometimes I have to stop and say, okay, when you type something into Google and you have an intent on searching, there's all these websites out there that have all this content on it. And so the content and what you're searching for, those things have to come together. And that is called search engine optimization. So you have to go through all that in conversational tone. You've also got to do it in a way that people understand it. So these are things that you have to look at your website. So when people talk about, I don't know, what there's something in the chimney industry that's a big long word, and it's like this, and it's para something. I don't, if any of you guys out there know what that is, but it is a big long, and it just means like fire. I mean, that's it. Okay, the fire is at a certain temperature, and it's got to be this and that. So when I heard that the first time, and people kept using it, and I saw it on the websites, it's like, guys, why you got to explain this stuff? Nobody knows what this is, So that's what I'm talking about. When you're using voice, the only people I know in my company that would use certain words are Carter and Jonathan. And we're always going, what's that mean? What does that mean? So, if people are saying, I don't know what that means, that means you need to start explaining. And that's part of the long tail keyword that you get, because when people ask a sentence instead of smoking living room from fireplace, that may be a short deal. If somebody asks, I don't know what to do about this smoke in my living room, I think it's coming from my fireplace, who in the world can I call? There it is. That's it. Thank you, Lou. Those are the things, in long tail keywords, you have to explain these things. And even then you may not be 100%, but try to do that to where people can actually know what you're talking about and understand it, because that's the way they're going to ask for it. There's so many things out there we don't know what the technical terms are. So human beings break it down and ask for things in very simple ways. I look at it as the same thing when you go to a foreign language and you don't know much about the language, but somehow you're able to communicate just through, sign languages. I mean, it's just amazing what you can communicate to people through very simplistic things. And so you'll think of it in those terms. That's what a long tail keyword is. It's communicating in breaking it down in simple tones. There are a couple of tools, SEMrush, Ahrefs, both great tools for trend analysis if you want to look at keyword analysis and see what that is. But here is my favorite thing. Make sure you have an FAQ section on your website. That is really important, because those FAQs are questions. If you get all the questions that people call in with and you're answering them right there, you can do it via video. You can do it in text. What I think is great, do it on video and then get it transcribed. You got them both right there. So if somebody wants to listen, they can. If they want to read, they can. The most important thing is Google has both video and text right there on the page. So if they're looking to give a consumer an answer to the question that they've asked, it's right there in your area. So those are all really, really good things.
I just read a report on chatbots, and some of them, of course, now powered by AI. And the report said that if somebody is just they know what they're looking for, they may browse the website looking for the section that deals with whatever it is that they're interested in. But sometimes they don't always know, and if that's the case, then they'll oftentimes look for a chatbot to ask a question. And that is the number one way that people use. Like this report or article showed a report of the number of questions versus other kinds of interactions that people had with a chatbot, and by far it was questions driven. I mean, people ask chatbots questions, and chatbots need to know what the answers to those are. And the number one way that chatbots learn what the answers are for a particular business is from content on the website, from like a frequently asked questions section on the website. That's where those questions oftentimes get, the AI will grab those and use those as part of its response. And in fact, ours is that way too. Jenny learns from the content on a client website, and if there's a frequently asked questions section, then it will reference that and use that to answer people's questions all the time.
What's also interesting about that is sometimes you have information on your website that you don't realize you have on your website. One of the things I read about just recently was a company couldn't figure out why the chatbot they were using kept giving them pricing, because the pricing was like 3 years old. And they finally went through their website to try to find it. Couldn't find it. But they had a no follow page that somebody, instead of deleting the information off the site, just put a no follow tag on it. Nobody could see it. It wasn't linked to anything, but it had pricing from 3 years ago. And so the bot had gone through and read it. So it's also another reason that you need to make sure your website, if you're going to use a chatbot of any kind, if it's AI driven, you need to make sure that your website is up to date, all current information on there, and that it's pulling all the right stuff. So that's really important too. So things happen like that, that we just don't know. We think we've done the right thing, and we don't. So let's prepare for the future. Carter, what's in the future?
Well, we've already been talking about AI and chatbots and AI-powered chatbots on the website. And pretty soon, we're going to start seeing more and more. I've already seen a few out in the wild.
Uh-oh. You froze up.
Am I back?
You're back. Okay. Yep, you're back. Said pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
You froze up again.
Really?
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. We're with you.
It's frustrating. My internet's been acting up today. So you pay all this money and this is what you get. So pretty soon, and I've already seen this out in the wild, your people are going to be able to chat with AI using voice search. Okay. Very similar to like asking Siri a question, but you would be talking directly to a chatbot on a particular website that has the answers about that business and what that, all the frequently asked questions and everything else. So it becomes more of a voice communication sort of experience versus sitting there and chatting, texting back and forth. So that's coming, and that means that your website, even more importantly, needs to be written in a conversational way, because those AIs are going to be looking to that content on your website as to establish your tone, to establish your brand voice, kind of those clues, right? Like if your brand is very proper and very, let's say you're ex-military and everything is yes ma'am, yes sir, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, and you're very formal in your tone, then that'll come across. If that's your brand, then you want to make sure that the AI is pulling content from your website and understanding that that's the tone it needs to be setting when it's responding to people on your website that it's having chats with. It may be more conversational or casual, whatever, but so I think AI and voice search going hand in hand. We're going to see more and more and more of that.
And here's what I'm going to put a caveat on that. And who knows what else is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, beyond
that, something else comes up and we go, "Wow, that's cool. I didn't think about that." So I'm saying that because there's so many people that I know that hate change. but guys, the change is coming whether we like it or not. So I'll just say, hang on to your britches, because as soon as we think, yeah, this is going to happen in the future, it zooms past that and goes right into the next thing. I mean, I saw today, I don't know if you saw this today, but Adobe is looking at doing text to audio, like text to music, like to tell just what you want in a musical piece, and it will create it.
There's also already a lot of AIs out there doing it, and some of it is pretty good music. I mean, for commercial purposes and jingles and that kind of thing, it's fine. But I wouldn't say that it's radio worthy or top 10 hit kind of stuff by any means yet. But it's decent music for a background, for a voiceover or something.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that Adobe would jump on that. I think there's a huge market potential there. But yeah, things are moving so fast, it's very difficult to anticipate. You were talking about if you don't like change, I read somewhere that the de facto standard in today's day and age, things are moving so quickly, change is the norm.
Yep.
And pretty soon, people who don't like change are going to freak out if something ever stops changing.
Because it's just normal. Yeah.
Right.
Man, it is kind of nuts. And I think with AR or augmented reality, there's AR. What else is there? There's
virtual reality. Yeah.
Virtual reality. All these things that are coming. One of the things, not to freak people out, but I read a really great article, now that we're talking about search and whatever, that they think eventually that we're going to be in these virtual reality situations. And so ads and stuff are going to be storefronts again in virtual settings, which I thought was really interesting. It's like, how do you do that if you're a local business? I mean, I get it if you're like a big, store or whatever. So the local businesses, are we going to be in a place where we can buy these ads and have a storefront in our local areas as people are on those games and in those virtual reality situations? So it's just wild.
Yeah.
All the things that are happening. So yeah, I think it's fun in one respect, but in another respect, it's kind of scary because you don't know what's coming down the road. So we are working to stay abreast of it so that we can talk about it when it happens or before it gets here, guys. That's our intent. Anyway, for right now, though, Spark Live is also released as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podvine, or your favorite player. And next week, we are going to talk about the power of user-generated content.
Good old UGC.
UGC. It is a lot of fun, and I think for those of you guys that have seen Jenny, that's a part of it. I mean, it's a big thing. So I think this is exciting. So, guys, thank you so much, Lou. Thank you for your input. Thanks to everybody that's giving us a thumbs up. We really appreciate all of you guys so much, and hope you have the rest of your week is great. And we'll see you next week with another great show.
Thanks, everyone.